Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Jaya Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Pancha Tattva, Jaya Pancha Tattva. Jaya Nrsingadev, 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 Nrsingadev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi Hayaribo, Jayom Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parivrajaka, Charja Asatara Sata Shri Shivan. ISKCON BBT founder, Charles Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Nama Charja Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sakahosh Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Brajamubin Namanam Ki Jai. Shri Namadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Chal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Gangamayi Ki Jai. Jamuna Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamandirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, who is the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Aren't you supposed to be translating all these lines? Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, whose worship with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing our reading from the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is chapter 5 entitled Lord Rishabhadev's Teachings to His Sons. And today's verse is text number 6. Evam manaha karma vasham prayungte avidyayatmani upadiyamane pritir na yavan moi vasudeve na muchyate deha yogena tavat evang manakarma vasang prayungte avidyayat manyupadhiyamane pritirna yavan mai vasudeve namuchyate deha yogena tavat evang manakarma vasang prayungte avidyayat manyupadhiyamane pritirna yavan mai vasudeve namuchyate deha yogena tavat evang manakarma vasang prayungte avidyayat manyupadhiyamane pritirna yavan mai vasudeve namuchyate deha yogena tavat. Please chant. Ladies, Vaishnavis. Anyone else? Okay, synonyms. Evam, thus. Manaha, the mind. Karma vasham, subjugated by fruitive activities. Prayungte, acts. Abhidyaya, by ignorance. Atmani, when the living entity. Upadhiyamane is covered. Pritihi, love. Na, not. Yavat, as long as. Mai, unto me. Vasudeva, Vasudeva Krishna. Na, not. Muchyate is delivered. Deha yogena, from contact with the material body. Tavat, so long. Srila Prabhupada's translation for this verse. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated to fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. So just read the purport in your language. Oh yeah? Okay. Srila Prabhupada's purport. When the mind is polluted by fruitive activity, the living entity wants to be elevated from one material position to another. Generally, everyone is involved in working hard day and night to improve his economic condition. Even when one understands the Vedic rituals, he becomes interested in promotion to heavenly planets, not knowing that one's real interest lies in returning home back to Godhead. By acting on the platform of fruitive activity, one wanders throughout the universe in different species and forms. Unless he comes in contact with a devotee of the Lord, a guru, he does not become attached to the service of Lord Vasudeva. Knowledge of Vasudeva requires many births to understand. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19, Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlabhaha. After struggling for existence for many births, one may take shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva, Krishna. When this happens, one actually becomes wise and surrenders unto him. That is the only way to stop the repetition of birth and death. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 151, in instructions given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami at Dashashwamedha Ghat. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavanjeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. The living entity wanders throughout different planets in different forms and bodies, but if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the spiritual master, he receives Lord Krishna's shelter and his devotional life begins. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshtarine Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshur Unvilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ahang Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagadatam Sahagana Ragana Tanvatam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Matangsha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripre Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Mevacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, thank you very much for kindly inviting me to visit your nice center here in Riga. I've been in Lithuania several times, and devotees in Latvia and Estonia always say, well, what about us? Why don't you come to visit? Well, here I am. Haribo. So, we're very, very fortunate, all of us. What's the population of Riga, approximately? About 800,000. So, out of 800,000 souls in human form in the city, maybe a dozen are taking advantage of the real opportunity of the human form of life. Well, maybe more. How many devotees do we have here in Riga? Approximately. About 200 chanting Hare Krishna. So as I travel, I remind everybody about this statement of Prabhupada. Once Srila Prabhupada said that if 10% of the population would become Krishna conscious, the place would be like Vaikuntha. So then he said, why 10%? If 1% of the population became Krishna conscious, the place would be like Vaikuntha. So what's 1% of 800,000? Yes, 8,000. So about 200 are already chanting Hare Krishna, according to Krishna Kirti Prabhu. So what's the balance to get to 8,000? 7,800. So you have a lot of work to do. Whenever Prabhupada would get reports, especially about book distribution. Yeah. All right. So the next point. Whenever Srila Prabhupada would get reports, especially about book distribution, you know, devotees would be excited. Prabhupada, last year we distributed 50,000 books. And Prabhupada said, that's very nice. Now double it. So that should be your minimum goal. Every year, double it. If you have 200 devotees now, next year 400, next year 800, until you get to 8,000. And that way, this place will be like Vaikuntha. When you get to 8,000 souls in human form chanting Hare Krishna in Riga, Riga will be like Vaikuntha. Haribo. So again, we're very fortunate. We're here hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. But not just Srimad Bhagavatam. We're hearing the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam coming down in the cyclic succession. That's known as sampradaya. So this concept of sampradaya is extremely important. We accept knowledge coming down from the Supreme Lord and through this chain of disciplic succession. Which saves us a lot of time and effort because we don't have to try to figure out that which we can't figure out anyway. Knowledge of that which lies beyond this material world, in other words, the spiritual world, you cannot figure it out. So there's a nice verse that says, Sampradaya vihinam ye mantraste nishpala mata. It says that without getting your mantra in Sampradaya, if you don't get your mantra in Sampradaya, then that mantra will not bear any fruit. Pala means fruit. So nishpala, without any fruit. Yeah, because in Kali Yuga, people are lazy and they're also proud of their ignorance. So even when they become a little bit spiritually inclined, they can figure it out. I just buy this book, that book, and take a little bit from here, there, and then come up with my own way. Krishna is not impressed by that. Yeah. So this is what my father advised me. I had just finished my third year of civil engineering school when I met the devotees in New York in 1973. I had just finished my third year of studying civil engineering in university when I met devotees in New York, and I became attracted. 1973. So my father said, I understand that you're interested in spiritual life, but you're an intelligent young man. Why don't you figure it out yourself? Why do you need a guru? No, my father. Yeah. So this is the general tendency. Still today, we have so many so-called spiritual societies, so many yoga societies, and you ask them where the knowledge has come from. Well, I got something from here, something from there. That doesn't work. Krishna is not impressed. In India, this is called Yatoma Tatopal. That anything you do works. You can worship any demigod, you can follow any path, and you will get to the goal. So yes, there is possibility, just like Prabhupada makes reference to the verse in the Bhagavad Gita from the 7th chapter, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavam. After many, many births of such trying to figure it out, you may be fortunate enough to realize that Vasudeva Krishna is everything. But again, here we are, we're very fortunate. We've come in contact with this genuine knowledge coming through a genuine representative of Krishna. We should just take advantage of it. So in this canto, 5th canto, this chapter, 5th chapter, Lord Rishabhadeva is instructing his 100 sons. And these verses are extremely important for us to understand, and Prabhupada referenced them many, many, many times, both in lectures and in other writings. Especially that first verse, Nayang Deho Deho Bhajan Loke Jai Shigoretai. Kashtan Kaman Arate Vid Bhujangi. Tapodhivyam Putra Kayena Satyam Shudyat Brahmasokam Chonantam. So Lord Rishabhadeva is explaining to his sons that you have achieved this human form of life, which is very rare to achieve. And therefore, you should not waste it trying to achieve what you can achieve in any other form of life.
Мы не должны ее просто так проживать, попадая в какие-то другие формы жизни.
You can you don't try to do activities that you could do in any other form of life.
И не делайте никаких действий, которые вы можете делать в любых других телах.
Specifically, it says, don't try for the kind of happiness that the dogs and the hogs try for.
Не пытайтесь получить счастье, которое имеют собаки и свиньи.
In other words, don't live a life just for gratification of the senses.
Не живите свою жизнь просто для наслаждения своих чувств.
Human life is meant for a higher purpose.
Человеческая жизнь нужна для возвышенных целей.
And in order to achieve that higher purpose, one should be willing to engage in tapodivyam, divine austerities.
И чтобы получить эти возвышенные цели, нужно заниматься таподивием, аскезами.
Now, in previous ages, austerities of a different type were recommended. Like in the Satya Yuga, people would go to the forest.
В предыдущие эпохи люди занимались разными аскезами, например, в Сатья-Югу люди отправлялись в лес,
They would put down a deer skin, kusha grass. They would sit down in very rigid postures and meditate for thousands and thousands of years.
клали оленью шкуру, на нее кушай грасу, траву, и потом сидели и медитировали очень многие тысячи лет.
Fearlessly. In Satya Yuga, there were so many wild animals, but one would have to go to the forest and sit down and meditate and not worry about it.
Бесстрашно, потому что было очень много животных в то время тоже в лесах, но они все равно должны были это делать.
And after 20, 30, 40,000 years, one may come to the perfectional stage of self-realization.
Через 20, 30, 40 тысяч лет могли достичь какого-то самореализации.
So we don't have to do that. First of all, they're cutting down all the forests practically. There won't be anything left in a few years.
Нам не нужно это делать, и в первую очередь они вырубают все леса, скоро вообще их не будет.
And even if you find some nice secluded patch of forest, you're still disturbed because nowadays the airplanes and drones and everything flying over, you cannot find a peaceful place.
И даже если вы найдете какой-то красивый участок земли, все равно вы будете постоянно раздражены самолетами или дронами.
Yeah, so everywhere you go, it's disturbed.
Куда бы вы ни пошли, вы будете раздражены.
But anywhere we can sit down, chant Hare Krishna, and hear this philosophy.
Но куда бы вы ни шли, вы можете всегда присесть и почитать Харе Кришна и почитать эту философию.
Yes, we've been given this very, very simple, easy process of bhakti yoga.
Нам был дан очень простой процесс этой бхакти-йоги.
But we shall not doubt that the potency is there and that we will achieve the goal ultimately.
Мы не должны сомневаться, что там есть потенция достичь этой высшей цели.
And if we don't take to this path of bhakti yoga, then anything else we do is a failure.
Если мы не возьмемся за этот процесс бхакти-йоги, то что бы мы другое ни делали, не будет успеха.
Yeah, there's a verse for that also. There's a verse for everything. So there's a verse that said, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japastapa Aprana Syavadehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. It says, Bhagavad Bhakti, Bhakti, yoga, devotion to the Supreme Lord.
Есть стих, который показывает это, что бхакти, этот процесс.
Bhagavad Bhakti means the process we're following. Bhakti yoga unto the Supreme Lord, worshipping and serving the Supreme Lord.
Бхакти-йога — это процесс, по которому мы следуем.
So, but the next word is hina, which means without. In other words, if you don't engage in bhakti yoga,
Хина значит, если мы не будем заниматься этим процессом бхакти-йоги,
then these things are useless. Jati, your birth.
тогда эти вещи будут бесполезны. Ваше рождение,
Shastra, your so-called learning of spiritual knowledge from different sources.
ваше так называемое образование духовное,
Japa, your chanting of mantra.
джапа, ваше повторение мантры,
And tapa, your austerities.
тапа, ваша аскеза.
So it is compared to aprana syaiva dehasya. Deha means body. Prana means life air, life force. Aprana means without. In other words, a body without any prana is a dead body.
Значит, что тело без праны — это как мертвое тело.
Yeah. So your birth, your learning, your chanting, and your austerities, they're all like decorations on a dead body.
Ваше рождение, ваши аскезы, ваше повторение святых имен, ваше знание — это все как украшение на мертвом теле.
And then the last line says, Mandanam Lokaranjanam. It Such decoration on a dead body is only attractive to foolish common people.
И в последнем стихе говорится, что такие украшения привлекают только глупых людей.
So when Prabhupada would recite this verse, he said that in India there are a class of, muchis. They engage in very dirty activity like leather work and stuff like that.
В Индии есть класс людей, которые называются мучи. Они занимаются такими низкими работами, как
And they're always dressed in dirty clothes.
они всегда одеты в грязные одежды.
But when one member of their community dies, then they dress the body up very nicely, nice clothes, and then they have nice funeral.
И когда такой человек умирает, его одевают в очень красивую одежду, и потом на похоронной процессе
But it's useless. His whole life he's been wearing dirty clothes, working a dirty job. Now that the body's dead, now you dress it up nicely and you have a funeral.
это бессмысленно, потому что всю жизнь он носил грязные одежды, а теперь вдруг он надел такие красивые одежды на похороны. Для чего?
Yeah, so all of our so-called good qualities, if we don't have bhakti, if we don't engage in devotion to the Lord, it's just like that. Useless decoration of a dead body.
Все наши так называемые украшения, они как бы бесполезны, как украшения на мертвом теле.
So Lord Rishabhadev is telling his sons, don't be like that. Don't waste your human form of life. Engage in divine austerities so you can get eternal happiness.
Шамадев говорит, не занимайтесь этими глупыми делами, занимайтесь бхакти-йогой, которая
So the austerities that we've been asked to perform, they're not very difficult. It's not like going to the forest for thousands of years or performing huge sacrifice or no. Very simple austerities.
аскезы, которые нам были даны, они не сложны, нам не нужно идти в лес, очень простые.
Rise early, take bath, go to the temple, perform the Mangalarti,
Встаньте рано, примите омовение и идите в храм на Мангаларти.
chant the Hare Krishna mantra on beads,
Повторяйте Харе Кришна на четках,
minimum 16 rounds every day.
минимально 16 кругов каждый день.
Shouldn't take more than 2 hours of anybody's time.
Не должно занимать больше, чем 2 часа.
Hear the Srimad Bhagavatam
Слушайте Шримад Бхагават
and other scriptures,
и
Bhakti Shastras,
Бхакти-шастры.
worship the deity,
Поклоняйтесь божествам,
associate with devotees,
общайтесь с преданными,
eat only Krishna prasadam.
принимайте только Кришна прасад.
Everywhere I go, I'm mentioning this because some devotees are becoming very relaxed about that standard.
Куда бы я ни пошел, я все напоминаю об этом преданным, потому что очень часто они расслаблены на этой теме.
I've told the story in the last few days, but I'll tell it again. There's one celebrity in America who opened recently a yoga studio in Beverly Hills.
Я рассказывал эту историю часто, но расскажу еще раз. Был один человек, который открыл йога-студию в Беверли-Хиллз в Америке.
And he's a friend of Krishna. He's not a devotee, but he's a friend of Krishna. And he specifically is friendly with Radhanath Swami.
Он не преданный, но он друг преданных, особенно Радханаth Махараджа.
Anyway, so when he opened the studio a few months ago, he invited devotees, the local devotees in Los Angeles, to come for the grand opening.
Несколько месяцев назад, когда он открыл эту студию, он пригласил преданных на открытие.
So I went,
Я туда пошел.
and when I arrived, I saw there were like nice tables full of nice looking foodstuffs.
И когда я пришел, там было очень много красивой еды на столах.
So I asked one devotee who I knew was intimately involved with the celebration, I asked him, is this prasadam?
И я спросил одного из преданных, который я знал, что был
Young devotee, Guru Kuli.
это прасад.
So I asked him, is this prasadam?
А я спросил его, это прасад?
And he said, no, no, Prabhu, but it's vegan and it's from a very nice vegan restaurant.
Нет, нет, Прабху, он сказал. Он говорит, это веганское, очень с хорошего ресторана.
So obviously I did not take, that's not my standard.
Я ничего не принял, это не мой стандарт.
But some devotees have adopted the standard. If it's vegan, it's okay. We don't have to offer it.
Некоторые преданные как
Вот.
бы приняли это, даже если это веганское, это все.
But Krishna doesn't agree.
Но Кришна не согласен с этим.
In the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 13,
В 3 главе Бхагавад-гиты, в 13 стихе,
Krishna says, Yagya Shishya Shanakshanta Muchante Sarvakil Bachai. Bunjate te tagam papam ye pachantya makaranan. I would like you to read, I will say the English translation, but you should also read it in your language so they get exactly the meaning. So Krishna says the devotees of the Lord are freed from sinful reaction because they offer what they eat in sacrifice before they eat it. Those who are eating only for the satisfaction of their tongue verily eat only sin.
Прабху просил меня перевести.
3:13.
3:30.
13, 1 3. Chapter 3, text 13.
Преданные слуги Господа освобождаются от всех видов греха, ибо едят пищу, которая была принесена в жертву Господу. Те же, кто готовит пищу ради того, чтобы самим наслаждаться ею, воистину вкушают один лишь грех.
So Krishna doesn't say that if it's vegan, it's all right.
Кришна не говорит, что если это веганское, то все в порядке.
He says anything that you eat, if you don't offer it in sacrifice, then you're eating sin.
Он говорит, что бы ты ни ел, если ты не предлагаешь это в жертвоприношение, то это грех.
So why do we want to avoid such a simple standard? Because we're lazy.
Почему мы хотим избегать такого стандарта? Потому что мы ленивые просто.
One of the main enemies of the living entity in Kali Yuga is laziness.
Один из главных врагов людей в Кали-югу это лень.
So even on this very simple path of Bhakti Yoga, we become lazy.
И несмотря на то, что это очень простой процесс бхакти-йога, мы все равно становимся ленивыми.
But we shouldn't be lazy to offer whatever we eat.
Мы не должны быть ленивыми предложить, что бы мы ни ели.
Making an offering is very simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate like we do on the altar here.
Сделать предложение очень просто. Не надо делать так, как прямо на алтаре.
Prabhupada said if you simply recite your guru's pranam mantras 3 times, it's offered.
Просто Прабхупад сказал, что просто повторяя 3 раза гуру пранам мантру, это будет предложено.
So nowadays we all have our smart devices, iPhone, iPad, whatever, smart. Take a picture of your guru on the iPhone. It's so easy. And whenever you have to eat something, just recite the mantras 3 times. Bas, it's offered.
У нас у всех есть эти крутые телефоны новые, которые можем взять просто фотографию Гурудева и предложить ему.
You can do that anywhere, even on a bus ride from Riga to Vilnius or wherever you're going, on a plane, on a train, you can make an offering.
Можно предложить где угодно, на автобусе, на самолете, где угодно.
And don't worry what anybody else thinks. If they're curious, then they can ask, what are you doing? Then you tell them. Gives you a chance to preach.
Не беспокойтесь, что как-то вы будете выглядеть странно. Если кто-то будет заинтересован, у вас спросит, и у вас будет возможность попроповедовать.
But the main point is that we are each of us individually responsible for our own spiritual progress.
Главная вещь в том, что каждый из нас индивидуально является
We're responsible for our own individual spiritual progress.
ответственен за свой собственный прогресс.
So if we, out of laziness, we lower the standard, we are affecting ourselves. We're affecting ourselves.
Из-за лени мы сами себе делаем хуже.
So again, Lord Rishabhadev is telling his sons, don't be lazy.
Еще раз Ришабхадева говорит своим сыновьям, не будьте ленивыми,
And definitely don't be crazy.
не будьте сумасшедшими.
Yes. The Kali Yuga means the world is full of so many crazy people.
Кали-юга означает, что мир полон сумасшедших людей.
They're not interested in spiritual life.
Им не интересна духовная жизнь,
Definitely not interested in genuine spiritual life.
им не интересна авторитетная духовная жизнь.
But if you dare to take to genuine spiritual life, meaning following this path of Krishna consciousness,
Но если вы взяли исследовать этому авторитетному пути,
then they will tell you that you're crazy.
они скажут, что вы сумасшедшие.
See, they have no real interest, but if you take to real spiritual life, then they want to stop you.
У них нет этого интереса никакого, но если вы возьметесь этим заниматься, то они будут пытаться вас остановить.
In the name of friendship,
Во имя дружбы,
in the name of family relationships.
во имя семейных отношений.
This is there all over the world, but in some cultures it's very prominent.
Во всем мире, но в некоторых культурах это более развито.
In 1995, I visited Armenia.
В 95 году я навестил Армению,
And in that culture, it's very, very strong.
и там культура очень сильная.
If you become a devotee of the Lord, now everybody knows you're vegetarian, Christianitarian.
Если вы станете преданным, все будут знать, что вы теперь вегетарианец или кришнатарианец.
Still, they will invite you to their home.
Все равно они будут вас приглашать к себе.
And if you go to visit family or a so-called friend,
И если вы идете туда навестить семью или друга,
they will offer you a glass of alcohol.
они предложат вам стакан алкоголя.
And if you don't drink it, they'll get mad at you. They'll want to beat you up.
И вы, если вы не выпьете, они будут станут злыми на вас.
You're refusing my hospitality.
Вы не принимаете мое гостеприимство.
You see? So in the name of so-called friendship, they want you to break the principles.
Во имя так называемой дружбы они хотят приступить эти принципы.
And therefore, when Lord Chaitanya was asked, how does one recognize a Vaishnava?
Поэтому у Лорд Чайтаньи, у Господа Чайтаньи спросили, как узнать вайшнава.
The first thing he said was, Asat Sanga Tyag E Vaishnava Prachar. The first symptom of a Vaishnava is that you give up the association of non-devotees.
Первая вещь, которую Лорд Чайтанья, Господь Чайтанья сказал, это что вайшнава, он перестает общаться вообще с непреданными.
In other words, don't let so-called friends and so-called family members drag you down from the standard of Krishna consciousness.
Не давайте так называемым друзьям, так называемой семье вас тянуть вниз от сознания Кришны.
It doesn't mean that we don't care about them and we demonize them. No, but again, you're responsible for your own advancement first.
Это не значит, что мы их не любим и не будем о них заботиться, но просто у нас главная задача это заниматься нашим собственным сознанием.
So in the beginning of ISKCON, some devotees, new devotees, they were confused. Prabhupada, can we go and visit our relatives? They invite us, especially for like Christmas. Can we go?
В начале на движение преданные были немножко запутаны, они спросили, что Прабхупада, можем ли мы навещать свою семью, они приглашают нас на Рождество.
And Prabhupada said, yes, but don't accept anything they give you to eat.
Прабхупада сказал, да, но только не принимайте пищу.
He said you can accept milk and fruits, but don't accept anything else.
Можете принимать молоко и фрукты, но ничего другого.
So, yeah, we have to be serious about executing Krishna consciousness. It's a very simple process. Prabhupada said it's simple for the simple, difficult if you're crooked.
Мы должны заниматься этим простым преданным служением. И Шрила Прабхупада сказал, что сознание Кришны, оно очень простое для простых, и оно сложное для сложных.
So we shouldn't be crooked. We should just be very simple, straightforward, understanding. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda have come to give us this very simple, easy path to go back to Godhead.
Мы не должны быть сложными, мы должны быть очень простыми и следовать этому пути, который Господь Чайтанья нам дал.
They're flooding us with their mercy constantly.
Они нас затопляют этой милостью постоянно.
Not just those who are already taken to the path, but even those who are passing every day in front of this building. They're getting flooded with the mercy of Gornitai Ki Jai.
Не только те, кто практикует, но и те, кто проходит мимо просто храма, они тоже получают Горнитай Ки Джай.
Every time the tram goes by, just by being this close, they're getting flooded with mercy.
Даже трамваи, которые проезжают мимо, люди, которые идут в школу и так далее, они тоже получают.
So what to speak of those of us who are already seriously taking to the path and chanting.
Что говорить о тех, кто серьезно повторяет Харе Кришна?
So I'll end with this. There's a very nice verse by Prabodhananda Saraswati that indicates that one has accepted the mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
Я закончу этим стихом про Бодхананда Сарасвати, который показывает, что значит, когда человек получает эту милость.
He says, Kaivalyam narakayate, Tridashapur akasha pushpayate, Durdang tendere kala sarpapatalai, Protkata dangsrayate, Vishvam purna sukayate, Vidi mihendra dischakitayate, Yakkaruna kataksha, Vaivavatam tam goram evastamak. So he says, for one who has received the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Chaitanya,
Он говорит, что для того, кто получил милостивый боковой взгляд Господа Чайтаньи,
these symptoms should be visible in such a person.
какие симптомы должны быть видны у этого человека?
So what are those symptoms?
Какие эти симптомы?
First one, Kaivalyam narakayate. We are not interested in impersonal liberation, merging into the Brahmajyoti.
Нам не интересно персональное освобождение, погружение в Брахман, Брахмаджоти.
Tridashapur akasha pushpayate. Today in today's purport it was mentioned about heavenly planets. Some people want to go to heavenly planets. So for the devotee, the heavenly planets are like Tridashapur. Tridashapur, the heavenly planets are like sky flowers. Akasha pushpa. Akasha means sky and pushpa means flowers.
В сегодняшнем стихе
Yeah. So the heavenly planets for a devotee are like Akasha pushpa. Akasha means sky and pushpa means flowers.
планета для преданного значит как бы цветок в небе.
So sky flowers has two meanings. If I take a handful of flowers and I throw them up, how long do they stay? Not very long. A little time and they come back down.
Цветы в небе, они как бы, если даже я возьму цветочки эти и брошу, сколько они там остаются?
So for a devotee, going to the heavenly planets is like that. Why bother? It's just a temporary and then you come back down again.
Для преданного это именно вот так вот. Почему вообще стараться туда попасть, когда так быстро можно будет спускаться обратно?
And it also means phantasmagoria. It's something fantastic that doesn't really exist. If you tell somebody, oh, I saw a bunch of flowers in the sky. Yeah, all right, you crazy.
Это также значит фантасмагория, цветок в небе.
Yeah. So, Kaivalyam narakayate akasha pushpa, Tridashapur akasha pushpa. Then Durdang tendarya kala sarpapata, like broadkata dangsrayta. Then for a devotee, the senses, which are normally like venomous snakes,
Для преданного чувства, которое
Yeah, see, many people who follow other paths of yoga, they're afraid of their senses being attacking them. So they go to the Himalayas, they live in a cave, they don't want to see anything tempting.
В других процессах, не в бхакти-йоге, люди боятся этих змей, они поэтому уходят в
But
лес.
because the devotee has received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we can live in the cities amongst all so many temptation, because those snake-like senses are now like snakes without any fangs.
А преданные не боятся этого, потому что они получили милость Господа Чайтанья Нитянанды, и они могут жить в городе, и для них эти зубы этих ядовитых змей не имеют никакого яда.
Do you have any venomous snakes here in Latvia?
У нас есть какие-то ядовитые змеи в Латвии?
No.
There is.
Yeah?
Какие?
Viper, yeah. So if you know the viper's fangs have been taken out, then you're not afraid.
Знаешь, если у гадюки взять эти клыки, просто выпустить.
Yeah. So Durang Tenir Kalasa Prodkat. Then Vishva Purnam Sukayate, Vidhi Mahendra Dishak. Then two parts to this line. First one is Vishvam Purnam. Vishva means the universe. Purna Sukayate. We see the universe as being full of happiness.
Вишва Сукайда, значит, вся Вселенная, она как полное счастье.
Although Krishna says Dukala Yamashashritam, it's temporary and it's full of misery.
Хотя Кришна говорит, что она временная и полная страданий,
Because the devotee is always engaged in devotional service, then the devotee always feels happy.
потому что преданный все время занимается преданным служением, он все время счастлив.
Krishna says that also in the Bhagavad Gita, that this path is joyfully performed.
Кришна говорит в Бхагавад-гите, что этот путь, он
So,
проходится с большим счастьем.
Vishram Purnaska, Vidi Mahendradi Sakitayate. Vidi means Lord Brahma and Mahendra means Lord Shiva.
Господь Брахма и Господь Шива.
The devotee, it's not that the devotee is thinking of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva as insects, but the devotee is not attracted to become Lord Brahma or any great personality.
Преданные не считают их какими-то тараканами, но они не хотят становиться Господом Брахмой.
The devotee is satisfied in his or her position because we're engaged in this devotional process and we've received the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Chaitanya.
Удовлетворен своей собственной занятием, своей позицией, и все, и получает милость Господа Чайтаньи.
So try to understand and memorize, if possible, these verses of Lord Rishabhadev in the 5th canto, 5th chapter,
Понять и запомнить эти стихи Господа Ришабхадева, 5-й песни, это говорит Шутанга,
full of important instructions how to progress in spiritual life.
в которых очень много очень важных наставлений, как прогрессировать в этом служении.
How do you say thank you in your language?
Спасибо. Спасибо?
No, that's Russian.
Yeah, that's what I'm translating. Latvian is paldies.
Paul?
Paldies.
Paldies. Paldies, spasibo. Both. Okay, any questions, comments?
Есть какие-то вопросы, комментарии?
The target of devotee, if I may say so, is to go back to Godhead, to Krishna Loka. But sometimes on YouTube, on lectures, Prabhupada says that even not that devotee doesn't care, but he just wants to render the service to the Krishna, and it does matter where he is doing this, on earth or in Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
Well, how to...
Very good question. I understand. You want to translate the question first and then I'll respond.
Вопрос такой, что цель, обычно говорится, что цель преданного служения это Галока, но Прабхупада также на YouTube говорит в некоторых лекциях, что преданному все равно, как бы, где делать служение, либо на этой планете, либо в райских планетах, либо в аду. Можете ли вы как-то прокомментировать?
So that mentality is applicable and proper for a pure devotee.
Такое умонастроение как бы относится к чистому преданному,
One who's already liberated.
тому, кто уже освобожден.
Because if you're already liberated, then you're not affected by the material world.
Если вы уже освобождены, вы не находитесь под подобными.
But in the beginning stages of devotion, we're definitely still affected by the three modes of nature and what's happening in the world.
В начале нашего преданного служения мы находимся под влиянием двух начальной природы, что происходит снаружи.
So we can't imitate that mentality. In the beginning, you have to be motivated to get out of here. It's a crazy place. People are mad. They're killing each other. They're hurting each other. Just let me get out of here. Let me go back to Vaikuntha where there's no misery.
Мы не можем имитировать такое умонастроение хотеть выбраться отсюда, что люди убивают друг друга, делают всякие ужасные вещи, давайте я отправлюсь в духовный мир лучше.
But sometimes the neophyte devotees try to act like that. But it's really laziness. They don't want to take seriously to the process. So they're thinking, okay, Mama Janmani, lifetime after lifetime.
Но иногда неофиты, они пытаются этому продолжать, подражать, но на самом деле это лень. Они просто берут эти стихи, как бы используют их.
Yeah, so this question was brought to Prabhupada when he was here, and he said that, no, don't be lazy. This is why he named this magazine Back to Godhead. He kept mentioning Back to Godhead. We have to be motivated to go back to Godhead.
Поэтому Прабхупад говорил, не будьте ленивыми. Этот журнал называется «Обратно к Богу». Давайте отправляться к Богу, делать это.
Yeah, the reason why we're lazy is because we're still reserving a little part of our consciousness thinking that I can be happy here in this material world.
И причина, по которой мы все еще немножко ленивы, это потому что у нас есть все еще какой-то вкус к материальному миру.
Whereas the pure devotees, they will stay in the material world and preach, not trying to be happy here, but to tell others to get out.
Чистые преданные, они останутся в этом мире, будут проповедовать, но не для того, чтобы быть самим счастливым, а для того, чтобы всем остальным рассказать о том, что нужно выбираться отсюда.
And they perform devotional service under any circumstance, even the most dangerous circumstance, because they don't care for danger. They only care for pleasing Krishna.
Они делают преданное служение, совершают даже в самых опасных ситуациях.
Like Prahlad Maharaj, he was preaching, even though his father, the biggest demon in the world that ever lived, was telling him, don't do it. I don't want you to have anything to do with this Vaishnava philosophy. Just worship me.
Например, Прохлад Махарадж, его отец был самым великим демоном, который говорил ему, не совершай это служение, просто поклоняйся мне.
How many of us would have said, yes, Hiranyakashipu, okay.
Как многие из нас бы сказали, да, хорошо, Hiranyakashipu, так и буду делать.
Prahlad didn't do that. He was not afraid. And that's what made his father so mad. Because this boy, 5 years old, he's not afraid of me. Everybody else is afraid of me. And this 5-year-old rascal is not afraid of me.
Прохлад Махарадж не боялся, и поэтому Hiranyakashipu сходил с ума, что этот пятилетний мальчик, он меня не боится, все меня боятся, а этот мальчик не боится.
So would we be so like, if you're in that category, then yes, you can go anywhere and preach. But most of us, from the very first time they tried to kill us, we would have given up. Okay, okay, whatever you say.
Если вы находитесь на этой платформе, тогда да, вы можете оставаться здесь и проповедовать. Но большинство из нас, мы бы сразу с первого раза бы сдались и бы перестали практиковать.
So we have to know where we are. If we're not on the level of Prahlad Maharaj, then we can't imitate that consciousness.
Нам нужно понимать, где мы находимся. Если мы не находимся на уровне Прохлада Махараджа, нам не нужно имитировать это сознание.
On our level, we have to be motivated to get out of here because we're still suffering from the threefold miseries. Miseries caused by our own body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, and miseries caused by the material nature.
На нашем уровне нам нужно понимать, что
First category, our own body and mind. Second category, other living entities. Third category, the material nature.
мы страдаем от этих трехмерных страданий, от своего тела и ума, от других живых существ, и от естественных всех катастроф.
And it rose again another question. Then how to keep up that motivation? Because for some, the ordinary life, household life, for some it's not that bad. It's okay, you know, but there's still some necessity for, as you said in the beginning, for spiritual life, and then people start to search, but the level of enthusiasm in the very beginning, it's not that high, because life is not so bad, you know, but still.
Как удержать этот уровень мотивации, как мотивировать себя постоянно, потому что иногда бывает так, что все вроде не так уж и плохо, как бы у меня все хорошо, и меня интересует в этой духовной жизни, но
So we will be tested on the path of devotional service.
нас будут проверять на нашем духовном пути постоянно.
There are two extreme tests that can come. When you're in extreme misery, you're ill, or people are bothering you, or you're in a dangerous situation. This is an extreme negative test.
Есть два типа проверок. На одной стороне у нас там, где мы очень сильно болеем, у нас все плохо, нас все бросили.
And then there's the other extreme. You have everything you need, you have millions of euros in the bank, and everything is going nicely.
С другой стороны, у нас все хорошо, у нас миллионы евро в банке и так далее.
So most neophyte devotees, they pass the negative test. When life is really bad and things are bad, we turn to Krishna, we pray like anything.
И большинство неофитов, они проходят первый тест, это когда у нас все плохо, мы приходим к Кришне.
But when life is very good, I have millions of euros in the bank, beautiful wife, everything is nice, business, everything is going nice. Neophyte devotees fail that test.
Когда у неофита все хорошо, у него красивая жена, много денег и так далее, они обычно не проходят этот тест.
Either they completely give up Krishna consciousness or they practice in name only. They make a show of coming to the temple and giving a €100 donation.
Они либо совсем перестают практиковать, либо практикуют как показуху.
In other words, they start acting like Krishna consciousness depends on them, not that they depend on Krishna. I'm doing so well and I'm so wealthy and I'm so kind. Here's a €100 donation for your festival. You see? Or like I said, some of them just completely give it up. They run away from Krishna consciousness. And if you're in between those two, then you act kind of in between. Sometimes you take shelter, sometimes not. But the pure devotee, they always take shelter. It doesn't matter if they're in the Prahlad situation where there's danger at every moment, or they're in the King Prataparuja situation where they're a king and they have everything they want. He was king of Orissa, Maharaj Prataparuja, and such a potent king that the Muslims could not invade that area of India. He kept them out by his strength. This was 500 years ago when he was so wealthy, but he was willing to give it all up if Lord Chaitanya would not accept him as a devotee. So it takes time to get back to that level. I say get back because that's our original consciousness. Original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. And this process of Krishna consciousness that we're following is really just revealing the pure devotion, the pure love that's already there in the heart. And that's why it's so important, the beginning stage is sambandha gyan, to understand, at least theoretically, what is the situation, what is the nature of this universe, what is the nature of material life, what is the nature of God. You have to understand all these things thoroughly. So that if we find ourselves again becoming attracted or lazy, then we have to remind ourselves, no, this is not a nice place. Krishna has designed it in such a way that even if life is nice, it's going to end. Death is going to come. Yeah, there's a nice verse, and I'll end with this verse. It's in the 10th canto. It says, Eka praliyate jantur eka esha praliyate ekona bongte sukritam eka esha cha duskritam. It says, all living beings are born alone and die alone. And alone they have to enjoy or suffer the reactions to their good and evil activities. So that's the reality. You're born alone with nothing, and you will die alone with nothing. So why spend the whole life trying to acquire so much stuff? It's going to be taken away. So that's why Sambandha Gyan is so important. You have to understand what situation you're in. Okay, I think Ms. Mataji had a question.
What about devotees' relationships? Sometimes devotees get attached to when each other in relationships and they become very close friends. What about them?
Вопрос такой, что как насчет преданных? И преданные привязываются друг к другу в разных отношениях.
So yes, devotees are supposed to be friends.
Да, преданные должны быть друзьями.
Prabhupada said once that Krishna says, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, I am the best friend of everyone. So Prabhupada said, if the master is friendly, the servants have to be friendly also. But our main relationship is with Krishna. Sometimes in the neophyte stage, devotees become more attached to each other than they are to Krishna.
Иногда в неофитном состоянии преданные становятся привязаны друг к другу больше, чем к Кришне.
And therefore they fall down together and leave Krishna consciousness together.
И поэтому возрождают сознание Кришны вместе.
So we have to be careful of that. Our prime relationship is with Krishna, and through the mercy of Guru, we're reawakening that prime relationship.
Мы должны быть осторожными и понимать, что наше главное отношение с Кришной через милость Гуру мы как бы развиваем это.
And only when that prime relationship is reestablished, then we will have proper loving relationships with everybody else.
И только когда мы восстановим эти изначальные отношения с Кришной, тогда у нас будут отношения со всеми другими преданными правильными.
So Prabhupada did not establish a society for us to chase each other. It's a society for reawakening our desire to chase Krishna.
Это не общество, в котором мы как бы друг за другом гоняемся. Это общество для того, чтобы гнаться за Кришной.
You don't have to establish a spiritual society for people to chase each other. They're doing that out there anyway.
Нам не нужно духовное общество, в котором мы будем друг за другом гоняться. Там уже люди гоняются друг за другом и так.
And this is exactly why so many other religions, their popularity went down.
Это именно поэтому все остальные духовные общины, они как бы деградируют.
Because instead of using the church, temple, mosque to reawaken love of God, it became social club, political club, financial club, everything except God consciousness.
Потому что церковь, которая изначально должна была пропагировать сознание Бога, они стали социальными клубами и так далее, которые...
So naturally, intelligent people say, well, why do I need to go to church to socialize or to figure out financial opportunities or to discuss politics? I can stay home and do that or go to some bar somewhere. I don't have to go to church or mosque or temple.
Поэтому умные люди, они понимают, что там нет никакого сознания Бога, зачем мне туда идти, просто обсуждать политику и так далее. Я могу пойти в бар или дома посидеть, обсудить эти вопросы.
Yeah, so we have to be careful not to turn our temples, our ISKCON centers, into political clubs or social clubs or financial advice clubs. That's not what it's meant for. Prabhupada went through so much difficulty to establish the pure Krishna conscious opportunity.
Мы должны быть осторожными, не превращать наши храмы в эти политические, финансовые и так далее клубы. Нужно держать их очень строго в сознании Кришны.
Again, it doesn't mean that devotees shouldn't have relationships or work together, even open businesses together. That's fine. But the main goal is to achieve love of Godhead.
Это не значит, что преданные не могут дружить или открывать бизнес вместе, но нужно понимать, что главная цель – это любовь к Богу.
Okay? Hare Krishna. Grantarashima Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Из